Yes. Yeah, so how was your day? How was yesterday?
Zara nimeona hiyo nini yenye ulikuwa umefungua ya NZD, nitakumbuka nilitoka mapema.
Don't worry. That is life. Oh.
So sad.
So in as much as most a number of good traders keep saying that capital is not of importance, I really think it is, because there are some things that affect us while we're managing our open positions that make us lose or even gain more. For example, I believe if you had enough money or enough capital or enough equity on that account, probably you would have held for long, which you did not do because you did not have enough. So apart from just making the analysis, I think managing your open positions is very important. Na hiyo ndio inalemea watu wengi actually. Either you either open very many positions with very low equity, or you are afraid, so you use a very small lot size, and in turn you do get very little amount that you would have maximized if you had enough equity, you see. So I think, yeah, for me, it is always a concern for many traders, including me, because I feel like some setups, and that's why you see people doing very well in demos and they never do well in real trading, in live accounts. Yeah, anyway. Tuanze na nako wapi? Yes, mimi ni lecturer. Kidogo tu ni graduate. So yesterday, we looked at Bitcoin.
Oh, nakili perform.
You remember?
Yeah.
And graphs do not lie. See, tulikuwa huku hivi, I remember. We were somewhere here. Let me see. Nope, I do not trade Bitcoin, but I do analysis on it. I trade once in a while, but due to its volatility, sometimes inanipatanga tu nje. Because a very small, unaona msemenye alijoin hapa na saa hii iko hapa. That is a very big movement. Like, it's crazy. Its people value, its volume is just crazy. So losing in this market is very easy. So you only lose when you
join hapo na vilishaenda.
Oh, kwani ujui venye markets was na work? This is how the markets work. There is somewhere a very new trader in the market who looks at this market and realizes, oh my God, I've been left out, but I think it will go up. And this is when I'm supposed to join, and I will join na maybe nifikishe hapa. Then they do join, and what happens immediately? It goes opposite of them. I mean, when you're starting trading, didn't you notice that kuna trades ulikuwa na place and then zinaenda opposite instead of going the way you were anticipating?
Yeah, nilikuwa na chase.
Exactly. Now there's someone who is chasing this. There's someone somewhere, especially with the Bitcoin. You see the overhyped crypto trading and Bitcoin. So everybody, when you talk about crypto, the first thing that clicks to many people, especially who are not traders, what comes to their mind is Bitcoin. And so when they realize that Bitcoin was at 8 and now it is 44, they anticipate it without knowing about any resistance, support and resistance or anything. So they just get into the market. So you can get. If we look at this in a daily time frame, kuna mtu naye anaona, hii ni resistant kidogo. I mean, we're anticipating that tutafika huku juu, like 60. So for them, to get in hapa, wako like, it's just the beginning. Little do they realize that a very small lot size might take them out, depending with their account size. You see?
Yeah.
So there's a lot that happens during trade management, and that is what I always advocate for. Otherwise, trading, doing analysis is very easy, but managing trades ikiwa open, ile panic mtu kuwa nayo akiona imego negative, inapita ile resistance level
nilikuwa panic jana.
Hivyo unaona imepita ile resistance level nilikuwa na anticipate ama support, na you do not give it your patience. Yeah, maybe it's a spike, maybe it's just something that is happening, and then it will turn around na ikuwe a trade that kwanza hakuna kitu mbaya kama yenyewe inaguza tu stop loss na inaenda your way. Inaguza tu
even
like,
if ilifanya God.
So that is what I'm talking about, and the reason why you cannot be that persistent is because probably you do not have enough capital, or rather maybe it is because your emotions were too high. I mean, those are the emotions that we talk about when we're talking about trading, and many people do not agree, but the truth is analysis is very simple. Yeah, emotions is everything.
That's true. Lakini nadhani anyway. Niko nadhani niko emotion resistant, but
nobody is. I'm telling you, even the best trader in the world, even the best traders in the world are not are affected by emotions. It's only that they control them better, maybe. And they've been in the game for too long, so they know the ins and outs of the market. So at least they can tell. I mean, this has happened before, so this time I'll do this so that I can avoid that. We all learn. We all keep learning. We'll never stop learning, I believe, until maybe we die. Yeah, so still good. So Bitcoin performed as we were expecting. I can't remember what you said about the GJ, but what we said is, I remember we were saying that there's a gap, and that gap was supposed to be closed. And as you can see, that kind of happened, but it never pushed the market to on the upper side. Still looking at it. There is a double top here, or rather a triple one actually.
Yeah.
So will this push up, or will this come below? Because as an intraday trader now, it is the most important time now to know, do we get entries or do we avoid the market? What will happen in this case? What will happen?
What do you think?
That is in a daily time frame. I'm looking at very many patterns here. In a daily time frame, you can see that we had some sort of a range down here, which formed a triple bottom.
Yeah.
Probably we could say we could add this one as another equal double, so that confirmed a market reversal. Up here, we had a double top forming as a market reversal, but did it go far away? Nope. It came right back in. But did it manage to breach the upper side? Nope. It held below. Now, what is the next step? Before we get even into that, let's see whether we have any news about the GJ. So first of all, we have a very volatile news of the Aussie that happened. It's already expired. So we are kind of safe if you are not there. I think it's none of our concern now. We do not have any other high volatile news. However, we have a lot of news that might affect the market, just that they are not volatile. Well, you see, in as much as they are volatile, they are much impactful. You see, for example, this card, this means it has a lot of impact. But I like to use this calendar for the FTMO because when you see that they've highlighted this in red, it means this is totally danger, and that's why they highlight it as a restricted event. You cannot trade this. That's the difference. Yeah, so it could be high volatile news, but it may not cause much impact to the market as this would.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I don't think there's a lot that will affect us in the market, and especially looking at the GJ, the Japanese yen, and the Great Britain pound. We do have very few news about the Great Britain pound, these ones. So I believe that they will not affect the market largely. However, it's always very advisable to be careful. So for me, I think now having trying to close this gap, I think the next move that will happen here is this market might sell, and it might form a very big range for a number of days. These are daily time frame. In 4 hours time frame, I feel like this market wanted to come here during the war. Let me do this. I feel like the market, this is where the market was heading before it breaches to the downside or going to the upper side. So I believe this is where we'll get our first take profits. I think the market will be selling for today and for a number of days, but before then, we'll see whether it will challenge this area to the upper side. It might come here. And so this is where we would put our stop losses if we were to trade this market. However, for me, I'll be a bit skeptical getting to this market, especially looking at what I have running already. But if I am to trade this currency pair, I will put my stop losses here, and I'll be waiting for the bears to push the market at least a little bit down before we take another direction of this market. Remember, in a daily time frame, it's holding above this area.
Yeah.
So there are chances that it might breach this area to the lower side, and especially because you see where the volume started this week. So there are chances that the market might push lower to the downside. However, this will be a very tricky situation coming here, since there's a lot of support. There is a very strong support area down here. So we'll be watching to see how that performs. However, we'll be looking to see if there are any signals that will indicate that the market is reversing. So that is my opinion on the GJ. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't even trade this many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we go to the GU. So the GU is another interesting currency pair, just like the GJ. The GU have similar. They do have a lot of similarities. I was anticipating that this market will push to the upper side. It's taken longer, and so I'm getting out of this trade, and I'll be waiting to see any clear signal on whether it will go up. However, I think it might range for quite some time before it makes higher highs or even make lower lows. And as you can see clearly, the spikes did try to go below this area, meaning there's a lot of willingness by the bearish market, by the bears, to go below this market. So there is a likelihood that the GU might even go lower instead of going up. There is a likelihood that that might happen. However, we'll be watching. But if I was to trade this market right now, I think my entry would be now for the bears. And this is where I would place my stop loss for the Yeah, this is where I would place my stop loss for the buyers.
For the sales, you mean?
Let me. Yeah. So I'll be watching to see if it breaches this area to the upper side, which is very likely. So I will not be engaging on this market for now. But if it breaches this area to the upper side, I'll be looking for a very good entry. So let me wait and see. So, and by holding above it means that it will form very good candles, not wicks. It will form a very strong candles so that it can push the market above. So for now, I'll be waiting and I'll be watching to see how that goes before I engage. I think there's no clear indication on the direction of this market, especially because of the war. However, the technical analysis shows us that it might go up because it is holding above this area. and until it breaches this area to the downside, ndio tunayasema we are looking for sells. Now unaona cells zetu zitakuwa from here to here, which are not very many pips. So we ask ourselves, is it worth the risk? If it is not, then we do not need to sell as at now. But I think for the buys, if we're looking for the bulls, for a bullish market, I think it is totally worth, because this will be our target up here. We will be looking to see if the Great Britain pound closes whatever happened during the panic of the war.
Yeah.
Or so for me, I'm kind of skeptical getting into this market as at now. Yeah. So yesterday we were looking at the Aussie, and we said generally the Aussie has been on the upper trend, but until it breaches this area to the upper side, we still say that this guy is in control. Am I right? So we wouldn't say that the bears have been taken over. We'll say that the bulls, the bears are still in control of the market. That is in a daily time frame. In a 4 hours time frame, this has been our target, and actually we are almost there. Or rather, you can take your early profits as at now. But again, we'll be looking to see how that performs. For me, for the day or today and tomorrow, I'll be waiting to see if it closes this gap up to here. And if the retracement happens 100%, then I'll be watching to see whether we will breach this area to the upper side, so that I know that the bulls have taken over the market. And in a daily time frame, it looks very good. You can see if it breaches this area to the upper side, then we'll be looking to see, we'll be watching out. I will be anticipating for it to make higher highs actually. But these are daily time frame, so these might take a number of days.
Yeah.
Or a number of weeks for that matter. So we'll be watching to see how that performs as well. So for me, that is it for the Aussie. So for the Aussie, like I said, I'm just waiting for it to hit my take profit, and if it doesn't, I have traded my stop losses, so I hope I'll be safe. I'll be watching for that. That is what I think about the AU. Sijui unaonaje?
Yeah. Mwisho ningekuwa nimeingia mapema.
Yali, if wishes were horses. Ha 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 ha.
Euro USD. This pair.
So nipeleke, take me through.
I thought inge close your gap jana, which it almost did actually.
So tuanze na weekly, tunaona iko kwa, it is selling. It's never been buying. And until it breaches this area and this area, that is when we'll confirm that the bulls have taken over, right? Yeah. So unasema jana, you anticipating that it will close this gap?
Yeah.
Do you think it will today?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it will. But Joe, hii week ni kinda ime-close-ish hata. Hii week yenye imefika hapo juu. I don't think it will.
So in the So in the long run, do you think this is a bear market or a bullish market? Or an undecided market?
It's a bearish market, yeah.
Well, in 4 hours it is. In 4 hours it is, because it managed to breach this area to the downside.
Yeah.
So having breached this area to the downside, it means that the bears are holding. The bears are the ones in control as at now. But the big question is, will they be able to breach this area to the downside? So for me again, yeah. So but you see, the week June activities that happened on the weekend, we may not be able to count. We may not be able to rely on that information, or rather data. Yeah, because you see, that was a volume that happened. That was the things that happened during the weekend, the war. So of course, we did expect such things to happen.
Yeah.
But that is a gap. That was gapping, and by gapping, so for me, basically for me, I think this in the long run, this is like a bearish market for me. If I look at it in a weekly time frame, this is how it looks. And you can remember that we've been with these, we've been looking at this. We were anticipating to breach this area to the downside last year. We did manage. We came here, we did manage. So we are holding up below these areas. So our biggest target now will be, actually this was another target of ours, which we did breach the downside. Now this is supposed to be our next target. But before then, because of what happened and the war, I'm anticipating by the end of the day or tomorrow, we'll come back right in. We'll come back right in. Yes, I'll be watching to see if it closes this gap. It is not a must, but the likelihood of it closing that gap is very high.
Okay.
So I'm anticipating that it will come back right in first before it makes another move to the downside. So this is today and tomorrow, maybe. It might be today in the New York market, but there is a likelihood that that will happen. So as an intraday trader, I'll be watching for that. I think I'll look for my sales during the day, for my buys during the day, targeting this area. Yes.
Naweza capture hiyo pia. Lakini ilinipeleka mbio jana. Imenipea PTSD.
It's so funny. Let me tell you, it's so funny. Let's look at the New Zealand dollar. You see, the New Zealand dollar against the USD, yesterday we were looking at it around here, right?
Yeah.
It bought. And probably, wewe as a trader, ulienda ukachagua EU. Najua una enough capital.
Nimeanza hii NZD.
Najua maybe mtu hana capital enough ama equity. Una decide wacha tu ni stick na EU. EU nayo haitaki kusonga, inakaa tu. Like sini close na probably iko in the okay, by the time you notice inapanda, it's already late. I mean, that is what happens. It happens a lot, by the way. It happens a lot.
But it's okay. It's fine.
So, personally, I like NZD, Euro, GBP, and gold. Those are kind of my favorites, actually. So, yeah.
So as could disappoint.
Well, hakuna nyewe disappoint time to time, but zikinipea pesa zinanipeaga pesa poa, so si mbaya.
Tina flop pia. Ili funga hiyo gap vizuri sana.
Yeah, so we'll be watching to see how that performs. So for me, I still believe like my target's supposed to be up here. However, my target up here to be on the safe side, stuck if you hapa alafu irudi. Actually, I think I'll starting looking at if I might close my positions as early as now, because profits are as important as anything else. USD CAD jana tukiangalia, I think tulikuwa huku juu. Ilifunga na ikago below hadi, but this was our target, if you can remember. Personally, I do not trade USD CAD a lot, but yesterday I was like, this might close the gap. So I did get in. I got a number of pips, not bad. And yeah. So yeah, that is where we are. Not great. So it's kind of tricky. With the USD CAD, it's kind of tricky. You remember tumekuwa tukiangalia, unaona sahi mali iko?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of tricky with that, but we'll be watching to see whether it breaches to the downside. If it does, then it will be looking for sales. But if it doesn't, we'll still be looking to see whether it ranges or it. We'll look at what happens. So for me, I wouldn't really trade this market for today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Until it breaches. If it does in the London market or the New York market, then we'll be looking for good entries. But before then, kind of tricky. So for me, that is it for the USD CAD.
Okay.
For the USD JPY, Yesterday tulipita because hakukuwa na clear indication according to us, according to me. I didn't see any clear indication of the direction of this market. In a daily time frame, this market looks like a bullish market, which is a very good market, by the way. So there is a likelihood that this market will touch this trend line before it moves higher. But for me, like I always ask, is it really worth the risk? Is it? Unaona mali iko? So I believe it might come down at least to this area, at least to this support area. Last time ilijaribu na weeks, but the price was rejected very quickly. So we'll be watching to see how that performs, and probably there's a discount for more buys. So for me, I will avoid still this because I still do not have clear indication on the direction of the market. However, in the long run, this is a bullish market. So we're anticipating that this market will go higher. This market, you see, this was a gap. You see this gapping where it started. So it's already been closed. So what next for this market? That is why I'm saying it might be a bit tricky, but at first, before it moves to the upper side, because in the long term, it might come down. It might come down to challenge the support and resistance areas that we have. So again, I'll be watching for that. Remember, again, in a 1 hour time frame, in 1 hour time frame, in 1 hour time frame, there is a double top here. There is a double top here. Sijui kama unaiona.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So a double top mostly means a market reversal. So it might reverse for some time because it already has. It already has. So we'll be watching. Again, we could take this as the head and this is a shoulder. So we might form another shoulder on this other side. So I think there's nothing clear. We have a lot of ambiguity in this market. So before we do anything, we'll be watching to see whether there's anything clear. Okay? Unless you have a different opinion.
Yes, teacher. No, I do not.
Good girl. Mkapata A.
You rocked hard.
Yes.
So yeah, iko close gap.
Achana na euro card. Hata ikaika iko na idea inataka kufanya nini by the way.
Okay, so inaenda wapi?
Hii inaendelea tu na downtrend yake.
Iko na volume kidogo.
So again for me, euro card iko in a very tricky area. Ona. Sijezi jua kama nitabai ama nitangoja close this area ama ita close the gapping. So for me, euro card is a no for me as at now. However, in the long run, it's been a bearish market and it never broke above this area. It never breached this area to the upper side. So I still believe that it is holding below, so that we would say that the bears are still in control. Naona hii gapping ingine hapa.
Yeah.
So I would say that this market is bearish for now, but I'll be waiting to see if it goes down. However, in the long run, as you can see, it's holding below this area. So there is a likelihood that the market will go lower in the long run.
Okay.
Unless there is a different.
Kama GBP AUD.
GBP hata nimesahau vile ilikuwa inakaa. Silver, najua trading silver, so hakuna haja ya kuangalia. It's kind of tricky pia with the high volume again, tunaweza avoid, but in the long run naona kama inaweza go above this area and breach the higher side. But before then, because it already formed a wick, it might range quite some time, or rather give us a different pattern before we get good entries. So it might even come lower to around here, We'll be watching to see. For me, I'll be avoiding these markets. Any market that is very ambiguous for me, I usually try to avoid, because we have a very big universe of currency pairs to trade. So I don't think it is fair for me to stick with something that I'm not sure.
Wow. Some relationship una describe.
It is a relationship of me and money.
Ile ka watu yasemanga there are many fish in the sea.
So oil is going to panda like it has always been. So oil is a good capture. I'm buying oil at close the gap.
Yeah, it close.
Instead, I think it will make higher highs instead. Too bad ilitupata kwa market. Haikutupata kwa market. Imagine ingekupata kwa market hapa. This gap. Ooh, you'd be a millionaire now.
Wait, so hata kama kulikuwa na gap bado trade ilikuwa ina run?
Oh my god, yeah. Kuna msee aliblow account na kuna msee alimake pesa. But you see, but because you cannot afford to lose. Unajua kuna wale wana losing na wata get back to the market because they've made a lot.
Yeah.
But
so mwenye alikuwa na trade alikuwa naangalia acha sana una gap tu ina form ama nini?
Market instead ya kuopen hapa ina open up. Sijui kama una get.
Yeah.
This is midnight on Friday. Ama inakuanga saa 7. Inalingana na time mali huko. So by the time inafunga ilifunga hapa. So si wewe unafikiria ukifungua utapata imekuja iform kitu kidogo alafu irudi pande, ama kama mtu wa sales anaona hapa ni pakuad positions ashuke. Tukaa hiyo yani. You get. So what happened instead, market ili open wapi? Ikashuka huku juu. Meaning hizi gaps zote there's a way they manipulate it, especially the brokers on the spreads and everything. So unaweza pata it had a very high spread, so lingana na lot size yenye ulikuwa unatumia na pesa una trade nayo inaweza kupea very a lot of money. But kama ulikuwa umejoin hapa, unaona already ilikuja ikiwa negative. Na ukifunga wewe ulifunga ukiwa positive on Friday, something like that. You got it?
Got it.
Yes. Gold tulisema ni tricky, luckily haija move. Spendi kuachwa na gold. I'm still not sure about what will happen with gold. I'm still not sure. However, I'm positive that it will buy. We'll be looking for a bullish market in the long run. But before then, I will be watching to see what will go on that currency. I mean, on that metal. But we'll be looking at good entries and any price action signal of buying or selling. So I'm still skeptical of these markets. Reason being support and resistance, and it looks like it's a ranging market. It's been ranging, and the war did trigger it to the upper side, but it came right back in and still ranging. So we'll be watching to see what transpires on this market. I do not know whether you have any other question, concern.
Nope. Nimeona tu yenye iko kwa watchlist yangu leo ni EU. Hizo zingine ni kazi zitaenda ku range kiasi.
Okay, so sawa. See, we can call it a session.
Yes.
Maybe people
ili tu ndio tulikuwa present.
Which is kind of good. Synthetics, uangaliangi synthetics. Do not never look for synthetics, by the way. Very risky, but very profitable. Your time will come. Become a pro. I'll tell you why. Because you can make $1 million here in a day, and maybe you can also lose it. You can blow your whole account in a single pip. But it is awesome. But just because you do not have experience real fast, you can start practicing maybe. But I just avoid it for now.
Naweza ifanya na demo account.
Yeah, that one you can. That one you may.
Yeah.
You are
Wewe
allowed.
unatumianga broker mgani?
IC markets. I used to use EGM securities. They're kind of good. Sijaiona shida yao. I love IC markets because they are less manipulative. They are less expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they are quite reliable. They are quite reliable.
IC markets.
Yes.
Fungua demo account na wao.
It is a good. They are good. Hata interface yao inakuwa poa sana.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, I'm not. They have not paid me to advertise them, so that is it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, bye.